Where Things Rust is the latest album from Shye, who dropped one of my favourite albums of last year. If you have not heard Obscura, please go listen to Obscura. It's available on Bandcamp. It's also now available on streaming services, as is To Where Things Rust, which I was very excited about because obviously I was such a big fan of Obscura, top 10 for last year. Shye has a really interesting approach to ambient, indie-tronica, I guess you could label it, at points to glitch. I do think there's something to be said about these kinds of genres though, in the sense that you don't necessarily always find yourself fully attached to it. It really has a particular mood setting vibe, and if you're not in the right headspace for an album like this or any other albums from Shye, it might just go over your head and you might not really get the full experience. But there's something about her approach and her sound that I absolutely adore, and I think once again To Where Things Rust is a really great addition to her discography. Not quite as enjoyable for me as Obscura, but obviously as a standalone piece of music I think it takes a slightly different direction. It's not quite as magical as Obscura. There was something so magical about the environment that album was built in. And the environment this time is much more natural, much more organic. Even the opening track, Reincarnate, has a much more rustic feel to it. There's something more longing about these tracks. It feels like you're becoming more nostalgic for something in the past. You're dwelling on something that's happened. The piano melodies are much more soothing. There are some absolutely gorgeous moments in the melodies. I really get taken aback by many of these tracks. Heart of Mechana being the best example of this. Shye, I See You, Masakatsu Takagi had a huge influence on this. I know, I can hear it, I know. Who I know Shye actually is a huge fan of, and I am also a huge fan of, so an artist that is such a big impact, has such a big impact on my music listening. You know, obviously being reminded of that from a different artist is only ever gonna be a positive thing. She plays around with sounds on this album a bit more too. I think on Gate, the weird sound effect that comes through sounds like a conveyor belt from an episode of like Wallace and Gromit. You know, the wrong trousers. I think it's that one where like they go into the factory and the conveyor belt's moving and Wallace is like running on it. It reminds me of like a sound you'd hear in that. But it really works its way into the actual track really nicely and just creates an interesting effect that you don't often really find on an album like this. And trust me when I say it sounds really cool. Prismatic Ghosts up there with Heart of Mechana as being one of the best tracks here. I absolutely adore the melody on this one. It goes like, and the way it kind of like shatters itself and becomes more distant as the track goes on is really something to behold. I really love the way it kind of like becomes really mangled and distorted. I think it's incredibly clever. Again, just playing with sound design and just manipulating various aspects of the track in such like a Nicholas Jar way. You'd hear something like this on Telas, I think, or maybe Cenithas. And I really like the way it actually sounds like it is like a human being just kind of like fading away and just slowly losing grasp on reality and just becoming a ghost. I really feel like it just gives off that feeling so perfectly. Not entirely sure if that's what Shye was aiming for, but I really like the way it makes me feel listening to it. That's what I picture, that's what I imagine. And that's the thing with Shye, man, like there aren't many ambient albums that I listen to and I'm just like so captured by what's going on to the point where I can just imagine something else. Like that was something that Obscura did so much of, which is why it resonated with me so ridiculously hard. But like this album too has moments like that, and I just feel like it's quite a rare thing to find. I really like the glitchy aesthetic on Hurried, definitely calling back to maybe Woolgatherer's Pond on this one. I mean, the natural environment aesthetic is definitely coming through across the whole album, and I feel like Woolgatherers had that on it as well. And then we close out with a very peaceful and tranquil Quiet, which I think is a really lovely track actually. I think there are some stunning moments, not quite as stunning as like Heart of Mechana, but I think it does nearly reach those heights, and I think again, in the right headspace, this could really just give you the most calming sensation if you are in the most like stressful mood or something like that. Which I think, again, going back to this album in the future, if that was a position I was in, I feel like this album could click with me harder just for that reason. But I will say, each time I listen to this final track, I'm not entirely enamored with everything that goes on. I mean, it's a 9-minute song. I guess from start to finish, not every moment captures my sort of imagination like some of the other tracks do. I'm kind of just sitting, enjoying it. It's nice, but it plods along just ever so slightly for me. But that's not to say that this album isn't worth your time because of that, because it really bloody is. Anything that Shye puts out is absolutely worth your time immediately. You should be dropping what you're doing straight away to check out whatever she does, because she is that good of an artist. And yeah, just so clean. This is such a clean album from start to finish. The details that pop up with the little instrumentals, little flutters here and there, are just absolutely stunning. And I think anyone that is creating this kind of music should be looking to Shye's albums and thinking, you know what, I want to try and do that, because it is so beautiful. So I think in terms of the score, I've got to go a 7 out of 10. I think this is absolutely admirable. I really appreciate what Shye is doing. I think personally I prefer Obscura just a little bit more, but they're not really to be compared, so that doesn't matter at the end of the day. I think you could absolutely adore this and think this is better. It doesn't matter, but I think whatever you think, you'll at least appreciate what Shye is doing, because I think she's a wonderful artist and I just want more music like this. So thank you for watching my review. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you agree. If you don't agree, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do listen to this if you haven't already. I know she's not a name that gets brought up like in conversation regularly amongst music circles and music nerds, but she should be, and you should be listening to all of the albums that you come across that she's put out. Thank you for watching. Do have a good day. Subscribe if you haven't already, and goodbye.